You're watching PJTV. I'm Steve Green. This is your Coast to Coast Tea Party. Now, last time we took the show to Missouri's 3rd District, where Tea Party favorite Ed Martin is fighting the good fight against the Carnahan dynasty. Today, and I never thought I'd be saying this, today I'd like you to meet Sean Bielat, who shocked the world last week with a poll showing him being a real contender against Barney Frank in Massachusetts. Incredible. Mr. Bielat, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I know you've been swamped with media requests these last few days. Are there any shows you haven't been on lately?
There's certainly been a lot, but I appreciate the opportunity to be on today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And, you know, this is incredible. You released an internal poll last week. Nobody likes to release those most of the time, showing that 51% of independents in your district favor you over Barney Frank. What is going on up there in Massachusetts?
Well, and the better news is he only had 34% of the independents, and independents comprise about half the district's voting population. What's going on up here in Massachusetts is very similar to what we see all over the country this year, which is that people are fed up. They're looking for a change. They're looking for something new in Washington. And this year, at least here, it's not about party. It's not about Republicans. It's not about Democrats. It's not about independents. It's about Americans. And that's what we're stressing in this campaign. And Barney Frank has a lot of damage, a lot of baggage. There's a lot that voters are holding him accountable for. So it's a good year for us.
Now, the Boston Herald, I read their story on this a couple of days ago. They tried to play down your poll. I guess it was Thursday. But last weekend, Bill Clinton came into town to bolster the Frank campaign. How does it feel to be going mano a mano against Bill Clinton?
Yeah, that's great. We love that. That also got us some good media. It's clear that the Frank campaign is starting to get desperate. They see the same polls we do. They may downplay it, but there's a reason they brought in Bill. They had a quote recently that their internal polling showed that they were 20 points up. They never released the poll, but they claimed that their polling showed them 20 points up and that they could keep that lead no matter what they did. And it's that sort of arrogance that's hurting them here. And it's that sort of arrogance which is preventing them from running an effective campaign. And we're very happy to take them at their word, but keep on campaigning the way we're campaigning because we think we'll win on November 2nd.
Yeah, arrogance. There's their word. So I'm looking at the numbers here. Frank's been in Congress for 29 years. That's 14 terms, going for his 15th. He's 70 years old now. And so you started this Retire Barney campaign. Actually, let's show everybody the video first.
I think we see entities that are fundamentally sound financially, and even if there were a problem, the federal government doesn't bail them out. This is not the dot-com situation, but you're not going to see the collapse that you see when people talk about a bubble. Fundamentally, I don't think there is a crisis. I don't think that Fannie and Freddie are financially insolvent. I don't think they need large bailouts. Look, we had a degree of meltdown in the housing field that nobody or very few people foresaw.
Do you think, in the end, we're going to still need a Fannie and Freddie?
Oh, absolutely not. I think they should be abolished. So how could it be my fault that no bill passed from 1995 to 2006? No, I'm going to interrupt you like you interrupted me. What in what I just said is inaccurate? Quote me correctly. I never said I wanted you to trust me.
And that thing it started to show up everywhere just a few days ago. Do you think you've hit the right theme for this election?
Yeah, we're letting Barney speak for himself, use his own words, and this is the sort of thing we come up with. He's running hard right now to get away from his record. The video is out there. The testimony is out there. It's very clear how he was involved in Freddie and Fannie and pushing for universal home ownership regardless of people's ability to pay. And this is the result. So, yeah, we're very eager to use this as an issue this year.
Now, I was going over your bio. You're a Marine, a successful businessman, a new dad. Congratulations. And
thank you very much.
When you started this campaign, but it's great. I've got 2 of my own now. But when you started this campaign, I don't think many people had any real idea of just how big this wave was going to get. So what made you think back then that this might be the year for you?
I thought it was foreseeable for a couple of reasons. First of all, you could see the tide changing here in Massachusetts in terms of people's willingness to vote for a Republican, to vote for Scott Brown. He actually won here in this district. Second of all, it was pretty clear to me, and I think to a lot of other people, even back in January, that the administration, that the congressional leadership wasn't going to change. In fact, they were going to push harder to get health care through, to get the financial, quote unquote, reform bill through, to push through these massive pieces of legislation that American people don't really want. And so I foresaw an opportunity then, and it's really shaped up. People want to hold the leadership in Washington accountable. They're unhappy, they're frustrated, and this is a good opportunity.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Scott Brown had won in District 4. That really must have lit a fire under Barney Frank.
Yeah, it really did. He became aware at that point of his vulnerability, and so he started polling on me back in April. I think, again, he hasn't seen the results that he wanted to see, and that's why we've seen these acts of desperation bringing the president's campaign for him. He's running a very different campaign than we are. He's really focused on the money aspect, and he has a big advantage there. As a committee chairman, especially financial services, where he can get a lot of lobbyist money in, a lot of PAC money in, he has a big fundraising advantage. And so his campaign is, we're going to throw up a lot of TV ads, we're going to talk about how awful Republicans are and how they screwed up the country, and then bring in celebrities. And that's kind of it. And the arrogance of office, the arrogance of power suggests, hey, we don't really need to get out and shake hands. We don't need to put up the yard signs. We don't need to do the traditional campaigning. So we've been doing that since last February. We built a huge base. We have hundreds of volunteers. We have 3 offices. And what we're doing is getting out the grassroots. We've certainly gotten a lot of support from the net roots, and that's making the difference.
Well, okay, let's say then that you take this thing all the way and you're sworn into Congress next January. What are your top 3 priorities as the new representative of Massachusetts' 4th District?
Well, right now, this year, when you talk to voters, it's very clear that job number 1 is economic growth. We got to get this economy going. We got to create jobs. The way we do that is we do stimulus by giving people back their money, doing instantaneous reductions in withholding so that families can make decisions, individuals can make decisions what to do with that incremental $50 they're getting in the next paycheck. Do they buy a new TV? Do they pay down a credit card? Do they invest in their children's college education? These are the decisions that are going to drive the economy forward. You couple that with freezing the regulatory landscape. Right now, businesses don't know whether they should invest because they don't know what's coming next. They don't know how Obamacare is going to affect them. They don't know how financial reform is going to affect them, and they can't make appropriate decisions. I've had all sorts of small business owners talk to me about how they're in a position right now to invest and potentially hire new people, but they're afraid to because they don't know what's coming next. So job number 1 is getting the economy going. Job number 2 is once we do that, once we get out of this recession, we focus on spending reduction. We've got to get spending under control, both discretionary and entitlement, and we got to do it soon because if we don't, in a generation, we're going to look like Greece. And so we really need to focus on that. And then job number 3 is just getting a Congress back, a leadership in Washington that believes that we should listen to the American people, that we shouldn't pass massive pieces of legislation that the majority of Americans don't agree with, that we should remember the role of the federal government as it was originally envisioned and as it's written in the Constitution. So for me, those are the 3 major priorities.
And that last one, boy, that's just radical. The Constitution and all, it'll never work.
Yeah, how about that?
You know, you're all over the new media, Twitter, Facebook. You're doing a ton of videos on YouTube. In fact, we met through Twitter last week. Will you keep using those tools to stay in touch with your constituents so you don't become, well, like Barney Frank?
Well, you may have seen it. Barney Frank has put out one tweet in which he said, "The day I have to start tweeting is the day I retire." Well, that day's coming up soon, so maybe he'll start tweeting come November 3rd. But yeah, we are going to do that. The Netroots piece is so important for a couple of reasons. One is this campaign has been driven, sustained by the small dollar donations coming in from Barstow and Omaha and all these places around the country where people are concerned this year. They want to get involved, and they want to see Barney Frank go because he's been one of the architects of the financial collapse that we've seen. So that's important, but then also it's a great feedback mechanism. It's a great way of finding out what's on people's minds, what they care about, and how best to represent them when I get down to Washington. So, yes, we intend to continue to rely on new media heavily.
Great. I'll look for you there. One last thing before I let you go. This is an exciting campaign. So what can our viewers do? Where can they go to get involved, to help you out?
Sure, they can come to SeanForCongress.com. That's SEANFOR Congress.com, or RetireBarney.com. They go to the same place. Please come to the website, sign up. We're going to be giving people the ability to make calls from across the country. We obviously need donations. Money, money, money is very important given the substantial fundraising advantage that Barney Frank has. We want to get on TV. We want to run some ads that we believe are going to be very effective in closing that 10-point gap and putting us over the top on November 2nd. So we can use that sort of support. And, of course, please tell other people about the race. Send out an email, put it on Facebook, friend us, and encourage your friends to do the same. Please get out there and get involved. We really need the help, and this year we can truly take this country back in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the trick. Again, Mr. Bielat, thanks for joining us today. And you know what? Best of luck in November. This could be a huge win for us.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I really think it is going to be one of these historic elections.
And I'll be watching Massachusetts for an election night, and I never dreamed I'd be saying that. Folks, that was Sean Bielat running against Barney Frank in Massachusetts. Look for him on Twitter as Sean Bielat, all one word, and head up his website at SeanForCongress.com. Also this week, I'm going to sit down with Utah GOP Senate candidate Mike Lee, so stay tuned for that one. Thanks for clicking in, and for PJTV, I'm Steve Green.